Okay, we'll stop there. All those that are on for Musar and Halacha should have themselves a fine night.
You too.
All right. And we wish Peretz a farewell. He's going to Yisrael tonight for his Mazel Tov for his Einikel. So is he still on or he's out? I think he's out. All right. Fine. Okay, so we left off a little.
Can you take a toaster? Can you take a toaster for me?
I'm sure he's going to buy many things to make a toast with. Not that type of toast, though. Yeah. Okay, so we stopped a little early yesterday because people went to daven mincha. So we got up to Iboilu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide lines down on the bottom. 6 wide lines down from the wide lines on Chaf Aleph Beis. It's a pretty easy daf tonight, so we should be able to make up the time. Iboilu. So you had a shaila, right? I mean, unless we get stuck with all the interesting things about Yefas Toya. Yeah, one of the more difficult sugyas in the Torah to understand. So we said that when a guy has an Eved Ivri, so as his Eved, so you can give him a Shivcha Knanis like this. He'll be able to have many avodim. He can grow avodim. He uses them as a stud, the Eved Ivri, right? So what happens if the Eved Ivri is a kohen? Can you give him a goy? So why not? So chiddush hu, right? So it's tam that the Torah allows a yid to sleep with a guy is a chiddush. But once you're saying a chiddush that a yid is allowed to be together with a guy, so you might as well say that the chiddush applies to kahanim too, right? Shani kahanim. No, maybe kahanim have a lot more mitzvahs than us. So maybe Yisraelim get to have a goy, a shivcha kananis, not a kohen. So that's the shaila. So Rav Amar Mutar, Shmuel Amar Osar. So Machlokes. Amar Rav Nachman Rav Anan, Rav Rav Anan, Ki Avisu Beimar Shmuel. Is Kumadri Itlalisu? Were you playing games? Like, were you not by Shmuel? Were you not by the shir and listening to the shir, or you fooling around? That's basically what he's telling him. It's Kamudri Italisu. Were you playing games? My time why didn't, when Shmuel said that it's also for a kohen, right? Shmuel held that a kohen eved is not allowed to be together with a shivcha knanis. So the Chacham said that an eved ivri that's a kohen cannot get his ear busted, like we said. Why? Because he become a balmum. And if you say that you're not allowed to give him an eved kanani, right? So ain't Rabbi Moshe Shulchan Kananis. Meaning, if you hold that you can't give him an Shulchan Kananis, typically the beina haftias adonias ishtivas banai veleka. Meaning, when, like we said, when this eved ivri leaves, meaning he doesn't want to leave. At the end of the 6th year, he has to say, I love my master, I love my wife, I love my kids, right? And if he doesn't say that, then he does not get his ear busted. So if you can't give it to a kohen, if you don't give a shivcha kananis to a kohen, then he will not have the ability to say ahafti is ishti. Ishti here doesn't mean his regular wife. It means his eved kanan, his shivcha kananis wife. He won't be able to say it. So since he won't be able to say it, then he can't have his ear busted. Meaning, he's asking on Shmuel, why are you saying that an Eved, why do you have to say, if you're correct that an Eved Kananis does not go to an Eved Ivri Kayan, right? So why do you have to say that for? Meaning, why do you have to say that a Kayan can't get his ear busted because he's going to become a Balmum? The reason why he can't get his ear busted is because he can't say a Hafti Ishti, because he's not allowed to have the wife because she's a guy. Right? So Elamai must be that it's mutter. And that's why you have to say that the reason why Eved Ivri can't get his ear busted is because we don't want him to have a mum. Because of the kohen. I'm sorry, a kohen. Thank you. A kohen, Eved Ivri, can't get his ear busted. We're saying it's because of a mum, because he does have a wife. So therefore, you see that it must be that he can be handed a wife. That's his kasha on Shmuel, right? So we're saying Avdius Ishtivas and he can't say it. So the Gemara says Sulay Midi. There's nothing else.
So that Issa falls away when he becomes an Eved, according to this Mandama?
What do you mean?
He can't be with a Shiksa Kohen, yeah?
According to Shmuel, but we slug him up, but yeah.
Okay.
We slug him up, but you're saying according to Shmuel, then what?
You knock off the Issa of one the rice of a Kohen being with a Shiksa when he becomes an Eved.
According to the one that holds mutter, you're knocking off the Issa, yeah.
Yeah.
One is mutter. Oh, I thought you were saying 21.
That wasn't anything special. I just
yeah.
just verbalizing it. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. You're knocking off. You are knocking off the Issa. Yeah, fine. So that's Shaila number one. Shaila number two. Ibaylu Kayin Mal be your fast tire. So we know what your fast tire is. Just had it a couple of weeks ago. Right. So your fast tire is that when the Yidden go out to war, and then they see a beautiful shiksa. So the din is he's allowed to marry her, but there's a whole process. He has to bring her back. He can't be together with her at the war. He has to bring her back. He has to shave her head, right? Make her grow her nails, and then not sit shiva. I don't know exactly what he has to do. He has to do avelus for a month. Then she has to become a giyares. Then he could be with her, right? That's the process.
Ziyago, according to everyone, he can't be together with her by the war. Even according to the Shitas, the Bia Rishina. The Bia Rishina is not during the war.
So we're gonna get to it. No, we're gonna get to it. The Pashas, you can't be the war. The Shilas, that we allow it even once before the war.
No, what I'm saying
during the war. That's what you're saying, right?
Masking it only happens after they go through the process.
No, not everybody's masking. No. We're gonna see that there are those that allow it once before he can actually marry her. Right, but that's the basic din of the Yifas Torah. So Gemara is asking Chiddushu. It's a Chiddush Loishna Kohen v'Loishna Yisrael. Makes no difference if it's a Kohen Yisrael. It's a Chiddush that the Torah is allowing you to be together with a guy. So we might as well take the Chiddush all the way and be mater a Kohen too. Since a Kohen has more mitzvahs, so they're holier than thou. Right? Okay. So Rav Amar Mutter, Shmuel Amar Oser. Same psak. So here we go.
Your fast tire now, not by Maya.
This is your fast tire, correct? This is your fast tire. All right. So, but Bia Rishayna, the Kuli Amalei Pligi the Shari. Bia Rishayna, everybody else is mutter. Why? The Lady Torah Keneged Yetzahara. Why is the Torah allowing this? Because of the Yetzahara. Right. So therefore, if you have a Yisrael as a Yetzahara and a Kohen as a Yetzahara, yeah, I'm the Kahanim on the Daf here. Maskim, you have Yetzahara? I'm not going to say it. Yeah. I don't know. You guys have Yetzaharas, Kahanim here? You don't have to admit it.
I heard it. Some of them do. Yeah.
You heard. Okay. Yeah. If once you're being matter al Yetzahara, so then you're going to be matter for both. Keep be a shniya. The question is be a shniya. Now, be a shniya meaning once he gets out his koiches, or whatever you want to call it, he gets out his taiva, his juk, his mishagas, his crush, I don't know, whatever adjective you want to use, right? So now, do we really have to be matter him a second time or not? So Rav Amar Mutter, Shmuel Amar Aser, right? Rav Amar Mutter, Hayov Ishtari Ishtray. Since we matter it. Shmuel Amar Aser, the Havi like Giyaris. At the end of the day, she's going to have to become a Giyaris, right? The Giyaris, the Kohen like Chazia, and the Giyaris doesn't go to a Kohen. That's one way of looking at the machlekes. Ikadamri, the opposite. The biyashniya kuliyama loy pligi da asira. Everybody holds that the second one is aser. Tavi like giyaris because she's a giyaris, and a kohen can't marry giyaris. Ki pligi bebiya rishayna. The machlekes is that initial biya Rav Amar Mutter the halay dibratorel keneged Yetzahara. Rav says it's mutter because it's a Yetzahara, so a kohen has a Yetzahara just as much as a Yisrael. Shmuel Amar aser kol hecha the karina bevavesa el toich beisecha. Anytime it says the pasuk that you bring her into your home, Karina Bey v'Raisa b'Shivya, and we're gonna also read the pasuk. And you saw a shivya, captured woman. Where you can't bring her into your house, like Karina Bey v'Raisa b'Shivya, then you can't go Risa b'Shivya. So since the kohen can't bring her into the house, so therefore he can't. There's no reason for Shiva.
What do you mean you can't bring her into that? You can't bring her literally into your bias to have beer with her?
He's not allowed to marry her. Meaning he can't bring her into his house because he's not allowed to marry her.
Well,
Right?
he's not allowed to marry just like any Yisrael, except he has another Isser on it because she has the din of a Zayna. So
Correct.
how does the het to come for this coin?
It doesn't. Then we're going in the sheet that holds it's usher. Since the sheet that is saying it's usher after the meaning even the first time, right? Again, the Ikad Amri is going that the second time everybody holds his usher. Right? The machlokes is he even allowed to do it in the first time? Right? So the first sheet, the Rav says taivas are taivas. Kahanim have the same taivas. That's the first sheet. Shmuel says no. Shmuel says we only matter somebody who could potentially marry this woman. Can he be with her the first time? If he cannot potentially marry her, then he cannot be with her. That's the machlokes.
When you say we only matter, it means that the Torah is only mattering it, right? Because it's a derisive.
Correct.
So then the Torah is us, according to this speech, then the Torah is us, except for Rav. The Torah is usering a second time. It only mattered the first time. What happens? It's a long war, What does he do? They're in war for more than 2 weeks, and what then?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Find another?
This Ikadamri is saying that even the first one is Asr.
Correct.
Yeah.
What do you do with the fact that he can't hold out?
Oh, so that I don't know. That's part of the machlokes, Rav and Shmuel. Whether we say hey, tough luck, you're a kohen.
Then why doesn't the Torah say tough luck to begin with?
That Shitas Rav. Shitas Rav holds the Torah doesn't say tough luck. Shmuel holds it's gonna say tough luck.
I'm not copying. Kehanim are held to a higher standard in general, so they're held to a higher standard here also. That's what the Gemara says.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah.
They can't go with the
Shmuel.
They can't do a lot of stuff.
Yaakov, the second time is not a big deal anyway, because now she's a Jewish girl. He wanted a shiksa. First one's a shiksa.
So is that how it is? Is that how it is that he wanted a shiksa or he wanted a pretty woman? He didn't care that it was.
He wanted a shiksa.
You want to fast Torah. It's not to do with shits.
I don't know. Maybe how do you know? Maybe he did.
See, isn't there like a famous Ramban in Chumash on the Indian of Yafas Torah that he speaks about? Like it has to do with the fact that they're at war. They're all riled up.
Yeah. Somebody says that a Ramban that says it.
I think that the Ramban speaks. Like he speaks. I mean, he brings this Gemara. He brings the Gemara that like the Torah is dibber.
It could be. Yeah, I thought it was I think it was about Ramban.
You mean to say that Yidden go to war just like Goyim? A Goy goes to war. They rape, they pillage, they do that. You mean a Yid will do that too?
Rachamim,
we're literally talking about taking captives.
When's the last time you learned Nevi'im? Right. Yeah.
Okay, touche. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll put you in Yericha for a month and see what you say. It's not so simple. That's not simple. The war is a crazy thing.
Yeah.
War is hell. I think somebody said that before. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Tanur Rabbanon. For Re'isa, here we get some interesting things. I mean, I would say I don't understand it. It's mashma like I understand the other stuff. Tanur Rabbanon. For Re'isa b'shivya, and you see a captured woman, right? B'shas shivya. You have to only see her when you're capturing her, right? Meaning, it has to be. We call that love at first sight, or it's not love at first sight. It has to be love at first sight. Meaning, if he captured her and he says, "Oh, I got a good chicks here. She knows how to clean. She knows how to clean the floors." Right? Oh, great! I'm going to bring her home to clean the floors. Then, as he's traveling with her, says, she's not bad. She's not bad looking. That's no good. You can't. It has to be love at first sight. I don't know if it's called love.
You have to be taking her because you want. I'm saying you love.
It has to be lust at first sight. That's what it has to be.
Not because for other reasons.
Correct. If you take her for other reasons, then you change your mind. That you can't do. Eishes, meaning vafilu eishes ish, even if she's married to somebody else. Right? Taisus asks, what do you mean? There's no such thing as eishes ish. There's no ishus by goyim. Right? So he says still it's a mitzvah saseh v'dovek v'ishta v'loy be'eshes chavera. Right? Okay, you fast
how could they have? There's no Indian of Ashes when it comes to like the Sheva mitzvahs b'nei.
So he does. So the Tais is saying there's an aseh. It's not a lois aseh. It's an aseh v'dovek be'ishta v'loy be'eshes chavera. You should be dovek to your wife, not to dovek. That's a Sheva mitzvah.
By a guy? By a guy?
By a guy, yes, by a guy. Yeah.
Dovek be'ishta.
Yeah. That's
By
what
Adam Arishan wasn't a yid.
Right.
I think they speak
Zev
about
Lahavdo.
Kain Matan Torah is different than after Matan Torah. It was an even playing field before Matan Torah.
Yeah, that's the Rambam. That's where he gets the Eishes Ish by guys. If they
Correct.
live monogamously, that's an Eishes Ish.
Yeah.
Paitifera and all the issues over there.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So you fast Torah, like Dibra Torah connected Yetzirah. The Torah is talking about Yetzirah. Now, what's the mashal? Mutav sheyochlu Yisrael basar. It's better that a yid should eat basar. Now we start today's daf of Peretz whenever he listens to this. Yeah. She temusais shchutais. We'd rather now. Normally, you have something called a treifa. So, if an animal's a treifa, it's vade dying within the year, then that's just not kosher. But you have an animal that's just not doing well, but seemingly right now it'll last a year, but it's not healthy. So we're really not supposed to eat those animals. It's not the best thing to do. But what we'd rather do is do that and shech that type of animal, than just letting it not shecht and just letting it go. And then the guy's gonna have such a taiva for meat that he's gonna end up eating it anyways. Meaning we'd rather tell you shecht an animal that's shvach, even though lichatchil we don't want you eating that animal because it's shvach. But we'd rather you shecht it and eat it now than just not eat it, and then you're gonna have no meat, and then you'll end up eating this. The animal's gonna die, and then you're gonna end up eating the meat from the animal. Right? So that's the same mashal here. We'd rather you do it beheter than to do it be'isser. Right? We don't want you we're afraid what's gonna happen. So therefore we matter it. Hashkafically, this is very difficult to understand, right? I'm saying, so that the questions come up a lot with Bali Tshuva, right? They say, I'm going to do A, B, and C. Is there a more mutter way for me to do it? Right? You tell them anything, you don't tell them anything. From this is mashma, you do. Maybe you should even help them.
There was a Meister after a Varan, Shechter, that he went to a thing, and he basically he said Nate Siegel had a shul that we mostly were Balei Tshuva, and he said he met somebody in the shul, and the guy says 6 days a week I go to work. On Shabbos he doesn't because he has to go to work. So Rav Aaron basically said to him, I hear that you're going to work, so maybe you could give the cash register to somebody else. He was explaining to him how he could do less Isurim on Shabbos.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Right. Okay. There you go. Okay. There you go. But on the other hand, if we know that guys are messing around with girls, we don't tell the girls to go to the mikvah, right?
Rabbi Yisrael Salanta wanted to do that, but he didn't. Yeah.
Why not? Why not, Taka?
We don't. The psak is that we don't. That's a Berhativ brings it. Even Ramesh discusses it. You don't tell them to. There are rabbis that do, but we don't. Lemaisa, we don't. Now, why not? From your fast Torah, you should. Right? I don't know. Okay, then v'chashakta, he has to have a cheshek, right? He has to want it. Afal pisha noah, even though she's not pretty. Meaning, if he has a crush, he has a crush. I don't understand this one either. Who's to decide who's pretty? What, we have a call a bezdin now and say, okay, is she pretty? I'm saying what? It's for us to decide. He decided he likes her. There was enough gemina. We need a pasuk to tell us that even if she's not pretty, she doesn't fit into the parameters. She doesn't fit into the box to make it to seminary, whatever the qualification of a seminary. You have a qualification for pretty. She doesn't fit in the box. We need a pasuk to tell you that. Okay, I don't understand what that means, but I mean the pasuk's telling you even though she's not pretty, you still have to let him go because he has a crush on her.
It's not pretty. It's whether he has a cheshek for her.
That's what but the pasuk needs to tell you that. If not for the pasuk telling you that, the guy could come to the rabbi and say, "Listen, Rabbi, I'm in the battlefield. I found this shiksa, right? And the rabbi tells him, by the way, she doesn't fit the pretty enough. She doesn't fit the pretty enough thing. You cannot be with her. So the pasuk's telling you it doesn't make a difference if he finds her attractive.
The rabbi has to. If you brought it to him harfness, he's not going to look at her. How does
Correct.
he get there?
So I don't know how this. We don't know how the Chassidim would work this. I don't know.
You'll give him a picture from the art scroll. You'll take a picture of her. Give him a picture.
Yeah.
Is it possibly that this is how we know even if it's subjective prettiness, even if he doesn't think she's pretty, but he wants her?
Is that what it's saying? It's not saying that. It sounds like
it is subjective.
Of course it's subjective. But you're saying, I mean, I was only the pasuk that there is a standard pretty. She doesn't fit that mold. We still let him be with her. But you're saying no. He says, I think she's ugly, but I have a juk, like Akiva was saying. I have a thing. That's what it is. Okay, I didn't learn shot like that. I didn't learn shot like that, but that could be. I hear what you're saying. That could be. Right? He's mad.
Yaakov, what you were saying and what Rachman asked a few minutes ago, in World War II, not to compare, but just the fact, when the Russians broke through into Germany the last 3 or 6 months of the war, they raped every possible woman they could to terrorize the Yamach Shemainiks. They raped from a little pitsy girl to a 90-year-old bubby. They raped every woman they could grab. Every Russian soldier raped every woman he saw.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Was that was like an official
intentional
thing?
It was intentional, yeah.
That was their command? Was their...
Yeah, to terrorize the whole... First of all, because what happened, how many Russians were killed in the war, and also just to totally terrorize them.
I hear. Wow. Crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, okay, so that's okay, so whatever this means, it's up to him that we're gonna be mad to him, right? Fine. But right? He doesn't get two. He only gets one, right? I mean, he can't have a smorgasbord when the soldier, right? You get one and that's it. The lakachta, lekuchen yeshlach, you have lekuchen, right? Meaning lekuchen yeshlach ba, you have lekuchen and you can marry her, right? Lecha leisha, it's for you for a wife. Shalayikach shtei nashim, that you shouldn't take two women. Achas loiv, achas lav. I mean, you can't. The guy can't call up his father from the battlefield and say, "Hey, there's a couple of pretty girls here. Do you want one?" Right? That doesn't work either. Each person has.
What's the time of your fast time? Because we're afraid in battle, it's going to be the heat of the moment. So the Torah says instead of doing it usher, we're going to be matter at one time. Is that what it is?
That's a machlokes. Whether we matter at one time, or do we make the guy wait a month and shave her head and make her look ugly?
But why are we being matter it now? Why are we matter by your fast time?
Because we'd rather you do something beheter than to do it be'isser.
So let's say a person says, I need 2 times. He's a juk in his head. 2 times.
That's what's... You're right. That's
then I have the answer of offerness. Yeah.
That's what's so difficult about this sugya here. Where do you tell him, maspik? That's it. Finished. No more. You got your thing, and it seems like the Torah is giving a little bit of rope.
I guess maybe is the shot. Maybe the person gets past Pasala once, then it's a different. That's
what you have to say. That's what you have to say. Yeah.
Well, that's totally the Machlekes Rashi and the Rabbeinu Tam.
What about whether the
Bia Rishona happened during battle, or she had to go through the whole process first?
Right.
Because if you hold Pas V'Sala, you don't even need to do the Bia Rishona first. You can just wait. That's the Rashi Shita.
Well, the question is right, but then the question is also, why? When is his desire he's gonna have to wait a while for his desires, right? That's going to require some sort of patience. Maybe he's gonna give it up in the first place.
Well, it's kind of, in Rashi Shita, that's kind of the point. That's kind of why you want to go through the whole process. Rashi's kind of is, once we're making go through the process, we don't want him to actually go through this. We're delaying. It's sort of like, the Kahanim have their own special gittin because we want them to calm down.
Right.
We create a situation that's pas b'saleh, but at the same time, we we want to delay it as much as possible, so he hops,
correct,
to get out of the moment.
Correct. Anyway, so okay, it's very hard. The bottom line is very hard to understand this whole sugya. But okay, a son cannot bring home one for lady for himself, one for his father. Now, so this is what Akiva was referring to. How do you understand this last one? Ve'vesa means he has to bring her home. He cannot sleep with her during the mechava. Rashi says lava, right? Shita's Rashi is that he's not allowed to do this at the war, even though he's under, whatever, he's going crazy and he wants her. No, Toisus, right? Toisus says it a little different. You have to do, meaning when they're not in the actual war, but meaning when it's how do you say it? No,
when
meaning that's
far and R.
No, meaning the way Rashi seems to say is when. That's the real shaila here. When is this happening? Bichlal, only when he goes through the whole process, she goes through the process, or does she just bring her back and then do it with the process? Whatever. That's a tumul in the Rishon. That's a long tosis here to the left over exactly what Rashi means, and do they even agree with Rashi's understanding of the Gemara? Okay, fine. Then, of course, you have those that say that this is a raya that women should not shave their head, meaning against the Chassidim. Right? We'd be remiss without saying that. If it's supposed to consider it ugly, so then means regular wives are not supposed to be shaving their hair. Right? So that's what they want to bring a raya from Yifas Torah, where this Chassidish minhag came from, to shave their heads. Okay, whatever it is. Fine.
Why do they not bring a raya from the Ramban that growing long nails is pretty?
Oh, so I don't know how that's another one. Where does that fall in Bisman Hazeh? Right? Because Bisman Hazeh seems like long nails are considered nicer. Okay, Mitzi has changed. So you want to say the shaving
that's the Ramban
too?
That's the Ramban. The Ramban says also Tzipor means cut them short.
See, I don't think any Matthias changed when it came to cutting people's heads off, hair off. I don't think the Matthias will ever change for that.
Who knows?
The Chassidim will be damned.
You never know in this crazy Torah, Akiva. Anyways, okay, bye. So now we're back to Avodim. So in Omar Yoima. So it's the pasuk says a double lashon. He has to say, meaning he has to say, what's the pasuk say? Ahavti es adoni es ishti ves banai lo eitzei chavshi. He says, I love my master, I love my wife, I love my kids. I don't want to go out for free. That's what he has to say. So im Omar Yoimar Eved, he says all that. Adshe Yoimar v'yashani, he has to say it, and he has to say it twice. Right? What does this mean? So Omar betchila sheish. If he said at the beginning of his 6 years, right? Meaning when he first gets hired. But he doesn't say at the end of the 6 years, we don't bust his ear, and he goes out free. He says, I don't want to go out free. He has to say when he's about to be released, he has to say that he doesn't want to go out. Right? And he didn't. He only said in the beginning. Let's say he said at the end of the 6th year, but he didn't say it when he was first hired. He also doesn't get his ear busted. He has to say it when he is an Eved. Right? Fine. So now Omar Mar, now we analyze this. Omar Mar im betchilas sheish, right? If it says in the beginning of the 6th year, so my ear, why are you saying it's from the pasuk that he has to say, I don't want to go out free? Typically, why don't you say that the reason why it doesn't work is because he has to say, I love my master, I love my master, I love my wife, I love my kids. And if he's supposed to do that at the beginning of the 6th year, at the beginning of the 6 years, he doesn't have it. Veleka, you don't have that. Because he doesn't have any Shivcha Kananis yet. I mean, he just has a simple question. How can he do it at the beginning? He doesn't even have a Shivcha Kananis. That's one question. Vasu, Amar b'soif sheish, if he says at the end of 6 years, V'lo Amar b'tchila sheish, he doesn't say at the beginning of the 6 years, Einin nirtza shenemar ha'eved. Al tu soif sheish lav eved hu. Is he not an eved at the end of the 6 years? Of course he's still an eved. Right? So then let him just say it then. Meaning let him say it twice. Right? Why? What I mean? We're saying he has to do it at the beginning or the end. What? In the middle of his 3 years in, he could say, hey, I love everybody. I want to stay here forever. Right? So, sort of like the baseball players that sign a contract. I love it here. I want to be. And then the next year they're out. Okay. Maybe that's the pshat, Tag. You have to say it at the beginning and at the end. All right. Anyway, so Amar Rava. So Rava says pshat. My betchila, we'll do with the parentheses. My betchila sheish betchilas pruta achroina. It doesn't mean in the beginning of the 6th year. It means at the beginning of the last pruta's worth of work. Like we had this on I think on Friday, right? That you prorate all of his work. So he has to say by his last pruta of work, he has to already say that he wants to stay on. Means at the end of the last pruta, right? Meaning, so basically what the Gemara says is that it doesn't mean it has to be before the last pruta, because otherwise it sounds like he's saying them. One is he's saying a minute before he's supposed to be released, and the other one is a half a minute. Doesn't mean that. It means he just has to say the first one anytime before, and then the last one, he has to be at least said before his prutas run out.
Can we release him against his will? He says, hey, you want to stick around? Tough luck. Get out of here.
That's the din if he doesn't meet the parameters, right?
Let's say he wants to. He meets the parameters, but I don't want him. I don't want him to be my slave.
I think we said you let him go and then he can come back.
I don't want him back.
You don't want him back, so you lock your door.
Okay, so it's against his will.
True, but here we're talking about where he wants to. Here we're talking about where he wants to stay.
He wants to stay. I'm telling him get out.
No, but he wants. I'm saying here we're talking about where I mean. No, but here we're talking about where he wants. The boss wants him too.
Oh, that's okay. So the boss is stuck.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, each one. Yeah, they have to play the game right. Let's see the next one because the next one has more qualifications. Tarabanan loy isha ubanim. So we're saying if he has isha ubanim, will the rabbi ain't isha ubanim, and his master does not have kids. So if the slave had kids with the Amivri, with the Shivcha Kananis, and his master does not have a wife and kids, Eina Nirtza, he cannot stay on. He doesn't get busted. Shenemar ki ahevcha ve'espesecha, I love you and your house. And if he has no house, then if the master has no house, then it doesn't work. The rabbi, Isha ubanim, v'loy ein Isha ubanim, let's say the master has a wife and kids and he doesn't. Right? He says, I love my master, my wife, and my kids. So if you don't have that, you can't stay on. Oh, he loves his master, and his master doesn't love him. He can't stay on. He has to be good for you. As rabbi, with that part I don't understand. His master loves him. He doesn't love his master. So why does he want to stick around? I guess he still likes the work environment. He just doesn't like the boss, maybe. He's sick and his master's not sick. He can't be with him because he's sick. Right? Rabbi also because shenemer imach. Fine. So by let's say they're both sick. So now they could hang out together in the hospital. Right? They're both in quarantine together. So can he stick around? Does it say you have to be with you and you have that? You need to say it needs to be good. That you don't have. It's not good for two sick people to hang out with each other. Right? Or they just both need to feel good. So teku, we have a teku on that. Fine.
Misery loves company.
There you go. There you go. Maybe that would be the tzad. Very good. So Tanarabana ki toiv lo imach.
I think that's why we were chavrusas those years around.
Yeah. So ki toiv lo imach. Right. It should be good with you. So we had this a couple of times already. Imach b'meichel, imach b'mishta. You have to be with him with eating and drinking. Shaloite ata oichel pas nikia. You can't eat clean bread. V'hu oichel pas kivar. Ata shoyse yain yashon. V'hu shoyse yain chodesh. Ata yosh. Right. Old wine is better. Right. You drink old wine. He drinks new wine. Ata yashon al gabi meichin. You sleeping on a soft bed. V'hu yashon al gabi teven. And he's sleeping on a straw bed. Mikan amru kol ha'koyne eved ivri k'koyne adayin la'atzmai. Right? If you're kind of Eved Ivri, it's as if you're kind of a master to yourself because you're busy being meshubed to this guy. Right? And we had the Taisus yesterday talking about if you only have one mattress. Yesterday Taisus on if you look, it's an interesting Taisus on Amud Aleph. You only have one mattress, so al karchach you have to give it to the slave because if you keep it, you're over on the issa of not sharing it with your slave. If both of you don't keep it, that's stam sedoin. So Elamai, the only eitzah is to give it to him, right? So that's what it means. Now you basically got a boss for yourself. Fine. It says you go out. He's going to go out from you, him with his kids. What does it mean? But it says again. He goes out, him and his kids. Well, what do his kids have to do with anything? He stole. His kids are perfectly law-abiding citizens. He got sold as a slave. What does that have to do with his kids? Right? So imhu nimkar banav u'banosav minim karim are his. Were they sold? Why we knew they go free? Mikan sherabai chayv mazonis banav. So what we see from this is that yes, the kids are not avadim, but if this master is going to take this guy as a slave, he's going to have to feed his kids. If he has a wife, his wife goes out with him. Does his wife get sold? Fine. So the master has to pay for the food for the kids and the wife, the tzricha. And we need both cases. Kids can't go to work and they can't eat. So therefore, their father has to provide for them. And this boss has to provide for the Eved. So, okay, so the kids are part of it. But a woman, she can go work and eat. So why should the boss have to support her? So let her go work and she'll eat. It's not the derech for women to go knocking on doors to collect food. But boys, they can go around and collect money. So maybe the boss doesn't have to feed them. So tzricha, that's why we need both cases to say that the boss has to feed the wife and the kids.
We learned in a different Masechta that if someone goes away and doesn't leave anything for his wife, and you go and feed her, he doesn't have to pay you back. Correct. Now we're making a chiv on the boss?
Yes, because he took on the Eved. It's a little different case. That's not
what you just said. It's not right, but you're saying a woman is not. We just said a woman doesn't go out to make parnasa, but there we left the woman out to go make parnasa.
Good, but this guy voluntarily fed this woman. Fine, the husband when he comes back is not mechuyev to pay him back. Here, the Eved is under his jurisdiction. The father has to feed his kids. He's here. Okay, so you have to feed him. That's why I understand it. But it's good you remember that. Fine. Taner Rabbanan, on to Beis now. Ilu nemar oznoi. Now we get into the all the busting of the ear. Ilu nemar oznoi bedeles. If it would have said in the pasuk that you bust his ear by the door, how you say Amr yedkor keneged oznoi bedeles. I would say that you bust. How's it go? Yidkor keneged oznoi bedeles, meaning you don't bust his ear. You put his ear near the door and then you bust the door. Right? That's what we would have thought. And you don't touch the ear. Deles in oznoi loy. So what are you saying? That you would have made a hole in the door, not in his ear? Va'oizen loy. And you're not going to do it in his ear. The pasuk says beferish, you bust his ear. Right? No, we would have thought that the process is as follows. You bust his ear outside, and then you put the ear against the door, and then you bust the ear by the door. All right, so meaning you start the process away from the door, and then you finish it off by the door. Talmud, that's what you would have thought. Talmud, what? That would be the Havamim.
Where's that happening?
I don't know, but based on the way you touch the psukim, that's the way, right? So Talmud learned, but Azna Uwadelis, in the ear and by the door. Hoketza doiker v'hoylach hachimigia etzel delis. You just keep busting his ears until you get to the door. Meaning you put his ears up against the door and you start banging with the hammer and the, what do you call that thing? The awl, right? And you keep that awl pushing through the ear until you get to the door. Fine. Deles shemeani bein akura bein she'ein akura. A deles will tell me it just says a door. It doesn't mean that the door has to actually be hanging in the doorway. Maybe you can go to Home Depot and just get one of those prefab door frames and do it there, right? Mezuzah. It says mezuzah. Ma mezuzah ma'umud, just like a mezuzah is standing up. Afdelas nami mumud, so a delas is also mumud. Fine. Now we get into the reason for the ear.
I thought that was meant a pre-drilled door. Pre-drilled door is all ready to go.
Well,
ready set for your heaven.
Yeah, I'm sure like Torah or whatever. What's it called? Not Torah or what are those? The Hanukkah. They take over the whole Hanukkah, the square thing. They'll have pre-drilled ears, whatever they would come up with that. Right, pre-filled. Why the guys that do the menorahs, the pre-filled menorahs, right? They're gonna have the
mitzvah stuff.
Yeah,
Ner mitzvah.
Ner mitzvah come up with some way to have whatever.
Have a kit. Have a kit.
A kit, right? A kit, exactly, with a tweezer and a screwdriver and a mamish, the whole thing.
And we sold right next to the 10 crumbs. The 10 crumbs for Pesach.
And you get a free shaver to shave your wife's head. Yeah. Okay, no, let's on this here. I'm sorry. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai Yadarish is a mikra hazeh. He would dash in this pasuk kimin chaymer. There's an interesting mushal. He would dash in it like chaymer. Chaymer is it's like a package, right? Yeah. So meaning like a package of Rashi says of jewels. Or the way they used to wear perfume back then is they used to wear like an amulet or something of perfume around them.
Cachet, yeah.
Yeah. So he would darshan it that way. What does it mean? Why an ear any different than any other body in the guf? The ear that heard my voice when I said Kili b'nei Yisrael avadim, Klal Yisrael is my avadim, v'lo avadim la'avadim, and they shouldn't be avadim to avadim, meaning they shouldn't work for humans. They're supposed to be working for me, right? That's what I said at Har Sinai. And he went and he bought himself a boss, meaning so instead of being an eved to me, to the Rabbeinu Shalom, he's being an eved to somebody else. So therefore he didn't listen. So therefore he gets his ear busted. So yirtza. Right?
So why do we do it in the first place?
Well, because he needs to make a parnasa, whatever it is.
He owes money, so
either he was a crook,
No, I get in the first place, but why do we let him do the maisa of extending his avdus?
He wants to. He feels that this is his best option financially. Right?
But isn't it on the master also? Like he's doing something wrong also. He's not supposed to be having avodim.
Good, but if the guy insists to stay, it sounds like he's not doing an issa. Meaning it does again, like it's like we said before, it's hard to draw the line between when it's an agada to Gemara and when it's the practical. Practical, is he allowed to do it? Is it the best? No. Now I'll tell you a fascinating thing. If you look in Choshen Mishpat Siman Shin Mem Gimel, the Ramah Paskins, you are not allowed to. This is the lashon of the Ramah. Exactly what he means, we'll discuss. You are not allowed to sign a contract to work for somebody for more than 3 years, because that's considered avdus. It's too long. I don't know where the 3 years comes from. That's the way the Ramah says it in Choshen Mishpat. Look it up yourself. Siman Shin Mem Gimel. Oh man, I looked it up. I looked it up a couple hours ago. Shin Chaf Gimel, Shin Mem Gimel. I don't remember. One of those.
Well, because you're signing yourself over to Avdus?
Yes, exactly what it is. Not only that, if you look at the Pischei Tshuva there, this was a real fascinating thing. He discusses how do rabbis sign contracts in shuls for more than 3 years. Now it seems like back then it's only the rabbis that. Why is he asking about the rabbis? Seems like those were the only ones that signed contracts. Everybody else was just doing business off the
Don't
cuff.
tell that to the board. They'll love at-will employees. Little rabbis.
Whatever it is, he declares why is it mutter, right?
Yeah, some of them have lifetime contracts after so many years.
Yeah, so it's not pashut. It's
Don't
not
worry.
pashut. You're
Don't
making
worry.
yourself.
The Balabatim drill holes in their ears anyway.
Ah, very good. Very good. Anyways, it's not so pashut to sign a contract more than 3 years. Obviously, I don't think this is the accepted psak. Okay, next, look at the Taisus Manashtana Oizen. See the second Taisus? A gematria. Anytime a Taisus is a gematria Taisus, you got to see it. All right, so Taisus says, Manashtana Oizen, Yesh b'medrash, the Martseya, the gematria Dalin Meya Shona. It's the Martseya's gematria 400. Akiva, we'll leave that up to you to crunch the numbers. Since we were Avadim for 400 years, and the Rabbeinu Shalom redeemed us. And now this guy went and got himself another boss. Knock him in the ear, which is the gematria 400. Right? It's an interesting.
It works.
What's Taisus trying to?
It works.
So what's Taisus trying to tell you here? Basically,
he's adding a reason. He's adding a reason. He's bringing the medrash. Medrash is Tanoim also, so he's bringing another reason. It starts for our Gemara's reason. He's also bringing the Gemara's reason.
It fits with the drasha we had.
I mean,
earlier.
the medrash reason.
It doesn't have to be a martseya. Any metal implement is good. So this is why the Torah uses the word martseya, because it's 400.
You're saying like in yesterday's Gemara, this is a raya to the one that says it should have to be a martseya.
No, this is why the Torah uses the term martseya. You could have said anything metal. That's all you need. You don't need the martseya.
No, but why are you saying that? If it's a gematria martseya, so then you have to use a martseya.
Yeah, but it says Dakar. Dakar is to make a hole. The Dakar means to make a hole. So of course he used the martseya because that's a device that makes a hole. But he could have used other, so he could use that chisel, a pliers, use a hole punch, a paper punch or something, whatever. But the martseya, it works out. The gematria works out good.
There you go. Okay, maybe. Okay, but Reb Shimon bar Rebbe, then we have another agadata. He did the same thing. He darshan it like chaymer. How come a door and a mezuzah? Why over there? Why not in the kitchen or by the barbecue grill? I don't know. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Delos and mezuzah show you Eidim b'Mitzrayim b'shash pasachti el hamashkov b'alshtei mezuzahs. Right, the delos and mezuzah that I jumped over them. And on the shtei mezuzas, v'amarti kili b'nei Yisrael avodim b'lei avodim la'avodim. V'atzeisami avdas l'cheirus. This actually fits with the medrash that Taisus just brought. Right. So v'holav zeh v'kona adon la'atzma yirtza b'fneim. He should have his ear busted in front of the doorway, so that because that's the door that we didn't he didn't take the lesson from. Yeah. Fine. You guys want to say goodnight to your father? Anyway, so Zok the Mishnah.
The guy can check his mezuzahs before it becomes an Eved Nerza.
There you go. Yeah. Anyways, in the airport. Okay. Okay, Zok the Mishnah. That's the end of the Gadata. Now, Eved Kanani, Nikna Bekesef, Bishtar B'Chazaka. So Eved Kanani, you could be kind of the Eved. Bekesef, Shtar, and Chazaka. The koine is Atmai, Bekesef, Ayidei Acherim, and he could be koine himself. So here's where we get technical. He could be koine himself with money, but he has to be given the money from other people. Pashut, the reason for that is Mashakona Eved Kona Rabbi. So how it's not possible for an Eved to have his own money. Right? How does he have his own money? Right? Because
didn't we say,
to...
didn't we say at one point there's a way you could be masna in the in the matana that you're kind of lafuke the bal, lagabe a woman.
What do you mean?
That you could make it tonight, and when you give her the gift, let's say it's a woman, you give her the gift, that she's kind of
So we're gonna get to that.
So
yeah,
why would that be any different than Gabi and
Yeah, so that'll be tomorrow's Daf Bez Hashem. How exactly you could do it? You can do it on Manas.
Meaning, so then why do you need this mission? That's what I'm asking.
So we're gonna see because it's gonna be a machlokes, right? Okay. Let's see. So, but right now the first shita holds that he could be kind himself with kesef from others, and a star even on his own, right? Because what's all a star is saying to the guy, the owner gives him a star and says you're free. He can use his own money, and he could even use a star for somebody else, which we're going to see in the Gemara what this is. But again, you could use your own kesef, but the kesef can only come from others. Meaning, like Rashi says, right? You give it to him on manas she'ein l'rabi reshus bo. You give it to him on condition that his master does not get it. Fine. Okay, minolan. How do we know that an Eved Kanani you can buy with all these things? And they're going to be an inheritance to their kids for a reshus achuza. Yikisha nakasu stay achuza. The pasuk makes a hekesh to stay achuza. Ma stay achuza nikna bekesef b'shtar b'chazaka. So stay achuza you kind of with kesef shtar chazaka. Af Eved Kanani nikna bekesef b'shtar b'chazaka. So in Eved Kanani you also be kind of with the kesef, shtar, and chazaka. So it says ima stay achuza. Right again, stay achuza is the field that what do you call it? The field that you yarshin from the days of Yeshua ben Nun. Right, so you buy it back, which kesef shtar and chazaka, so to Eved. Ima sot stay achuza chazeres l'baylam b'yovel. Okay, but stay achuza we know goes back to the owners at Yovel, right? Everything resets. All real estate transactions reset to the original owners from the days of Yeshua ben Nun. So af Eved Kanani chazer l'baylam b'yovel. So Eved Kanani also goes back to the baylam b'yovel. Tamalayma. He works for him forever. Tana, that's it. Works for him forever.
Why would Yovel apply to a guy?
I don't know. I'm assuming because he's owned by. What do you mean?
No, but the original owner. Who's the owner of this Eved Kanani? Guy. So he should get it back by Yovel. The guy, presumably, it's also for a yid to sell his Eved Kanani to another yid. Correct. So who's the owner, the original owner of this guy that was saying that he should go back to his original owner by Yovel? Why would I have such a...
Yeah. Here. How would that work? Who would be the owner? I'm not sure. I hear. It's a good kasha. I hear. Okay, Vaita. So Tana, af bechalipin. So we learned that you could even buy him with chalipin. Meaning chalipin is what we do with mechiras chametz. You give the pen or the handkerchief, and in exchange you take it back. So you could do the same thing to buy a slave. Okay, but our Mishnah doesn't say that. Our Mishnah just says kesef shtar chazak. It doesn't say chalipin. Right, Vatana Didan, what about our Mishnah? So Gemara says Milsa, the less of metaltalin katani. Anything that you can't buy, metaltalin is things that are can be taken, right? Not land. Our Mishnah is talking about Milsa Disa metaltalin katani. Things that you could buy as metaltalin, it's not going to learn. Meaning, what's an Eved? Is an Eved karka or is an Eved metaltalin? Because an Eved can move. Right, so which one is it? So we have some that say it's like it has the dinam of karka, but really it's metaltalin. So our Mishnah is saying, yeah, we understand we could be kind of like metaltalin. That's pashit. We're trying to give you the reasons that if you consider him like karka, that you could be kind of.
Why kesef do that?
What?
Kesef.
Kesef you can buy with karka.
You could buy metaltalin, I'm saying also.
You can buy that too. Yeah. So we'll see in a second.
Why it's kesef? Right.
We'll see with that. So Amar Shmuel, Gemara is going to change it a little bit. So Amar Shmuel, Eved Kanani nikna b'meshicha. He says in Eved Kanani you could be kind of a meshicha. Keitzad, right? How? Takfa, you grab onto him. Uba etzla, meaning you grab him and you bring him to you. That would be meshicha. Karu uba etzla loikanu. If you call him and he comes to you, that's not called meshicha. So Mishnah Tana done. So our Mishnah doesn't say Meshicha Milsa de Isa Metaltal Katani. It's not talking about how to be kind of metaltal. And metaltal you could be kind of with Meshicha. The lesson of metaltal Katani. But if you can't do metaltal, our Mishnah is talking about it. So therefore, it's not talking about Meshicha because you can't do Meshicha on land, right? El Latana Bara, but the other Tana, meaning the Brisa, Nisni Meshicha. Why don't you say Meshicha? Right? If he's also listing the things that you could be kind of metaltalin with, so why don't you also say Meshicha? So the answer is Kikatani Milsa de Isa Beim Mekarkoi Beim Metaltali. The Tana is talking about things that you can buy both, Mekarka and Metaltalin. Meshicha Metaltali Isa and Mekarkoi Lessa, like a Tani, but Meshicha that works for metaltalin, it doesn't work with karka, that he's not referring to. So meaning that the Bryce is only talking about things that you can be kind of with Meshicha and I'm sorry, things that you can buy karka and metaltalin with. So it doesn't answer your kasha. What was your kasha, Naftali? The kesef.
Kesef's kind of metaltalin?
Kesef is kind, you can buy, yeah, what do you think? Kesef, you go to the store and you...
I don't think metaltalin's kind of kesef.
I mean, it depends. There are
pick it up.
It's a machlokes. I think
kesef, it's not so simple.
I know, but I think there are shitas that hold that yes, you can be kind of with kesef.
I think that's only midaraisa.
You pass like Rabbi Yochanan on the kesef only for a guy is kind of metaltal, not for you.
But God, what I mean,
a yid cannot be kind of any metaltal with kesef, only tarka. But a guy's Iker Kinyan is with kesef. So
but we don't pass like that by goyim.
But here's a yid. We're talking about a yid making a kinyan.
No, I understand.
Right. By the yid we pass.
We're talking about a Kanani. We're talking about Kanani.
I know, but the yid's the one who's making the kinyan.
The yid's making the kinyan. The one making the kinyan is a yid. So kesef only works for karka by a yid.
Okay, we're gonna get to all the kinyanim later on. Okay, yeah.
But didn't we have a svar in getting the gabe and Eved being kind of like being a chutzner?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what we're saying. That's
so how does that fit with be doing Mashicha? If you have your own das, if we look at an Eved Kanani, somebody has their own das, how would you bring him into your shus? He could always leave. Like, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to animals, if animals are able to walk out of the pen, we don't consider that a kinyan Mashicha, correct? Because you didn't really bring them into your shus, they could walk right out. So why would it ever be any different?
Right.
That is this Gemara. If he pulls it or he calls it.
I know, but he can just walk right back. You didn't really bring it into your rishos. You could always just leave.
No, it's a showing of Bailus by pulling it up with the rings.
Well, my point is that since he's a das, he has his own das. It's never Bailus when it comes to Mashiach.
I hear. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Let's see a little bit more. So Ketzad, Takvu ba'etzle kanu karu ba'etzle like kanu. Right? What does it mean? How do you do Mashiach? So if you grab onto him and he comes to you, you're kind to him. If you call him karu v'ba, it's like then like kanu. But karu like calling him doesn't work. Fatani Ketzad and Masira. How do you give over an animal with Masira? Right, because that's a form of Mashiach. So meaning handing it over. Also, betalfa, if you grab onto its leg, its hoof, the sire to its hair, but uchuf is its the saddle. I'm sorry, the saddle that's on it. Beshlif shaleh, or if it has a masa, a load on it. But prumbia shabapia, or the thing that you pull it from its mouth. Bezug shabatavara in the bell. Kana yukainit. That's how you do masira. Ketzad Mashiach, how's Mashiach? Kaira love if you call the animal, it comes to you. Ashakish v'makol, or you hit it with a stick for ratzalavanov and it runs. Kivan chakri yad v'regel kana, since it's oiker or yad and a regel, you kaine. So it has to walk in front of you the length of its height. So what's the kasha? You see that an animal, you can call to it, and if it walks to you, you're kaine. So how come you can't do the same to an evet? So Amri behema daita demara azla. Behema goes on the das of its boss, right? Memela, it's an animal; it doesn't have das. So when you call it and it comes to you, so that's like doing Mashiach. Eved daita denafshekos. At the end of the day, an Eved has his own brain. So just because you called him and he came to you doesn't mean that he's now saying that you're his boss, right? Fine. Some Rav Ashi Eved cotton kabehema. If you have an Eved cotton, that's like a behema. Yeah. Fine. Okay, it's late, so we'll stop over here. We'll catch this up between tomorrow and the next day. We'll catch it up as Hashem.